I was working it out. This is my fifth Rocky Pigeon. So I've chaired these exercises for the last 14 years. And therefore we could really, with the experience, we could tell what were the potential pitfalls. It includes a lot of people. We have the services, of course, the MOD, the Royal Gibraltar Police, Services Police, Fire and Rescue Service, the airport service as well, the airport authority, government departments. I'm going to leave people out, but the whole of Gibraltar is involved. And they all work very, very hard in predicting what might go wrong and in taking the necessary steps in order to protect the population. So I think that the experience we've gained over the last few exercises has served us well, and we would be ready in the extremely likely event that there was a problem like this.
Now, the operation means we've been reauthorised as an operational berth for another 3 years. What exactly does this mean for the public? And what kinds of operations does this normally involve?
Well, this kind of berth is purely a short-term period in our port. It's nothing more than that. And I think, to keep it in context, the radiation leak that we exercised would be the equivalent of your normal background radiation from the atmosphere for a year, or half what you'd get during a CT scan. So it's not something that's going to make Gibraltar be glowing with radioactivity, but we have to protect the people. And therefore we take different steps, like avoiding people coming in, like perhaps diverting aircraft. Cruise ships would not be allowed to disembark. Children would be taken home from schools. The advice, and there we've been led by both the GHA and the Director of Public Health, the advice is always stay indoors, take the iodine tablets which will stabilize your thyroid and protect your thyroid, and all these different steps. If there were a radiation leak, we would have a lot of time to prepare, much more than in the exercise, and it would be 4 or 5 hours where you'd need to keep in shelter, and after that it tends to fade away. So I think the population needs to be very reassured that we would be in a very good position to react very quickly. We've practiced it all repeatedly and very successfully. I believe it's one of the most successful anywhere in the world. I'm really proud of that for Gibraltar's sake. So nothing to worry about. It's extremely unlikely it would happen. If it should happen, we can keep the population safe.
Now, the population concerned, of course, and while the exercise tested Gibraltar's emergency services, how well informed is the general public and on what to do in a real radiation incident?
Well, perhaps if there is one thing that we could do better collectively as Gibraltar, both the MOD and the civilian population, is to advise people in advance of what would be required. What I can say now essentially is stay indoors and take the tablets that would be distributed throughout Gibraltar. So I think perhaps we could have a little bit more comms on that issue, but other than that, it really is something that we can take control of.
Maybe we've identified a weakness. Perhaps a public information campaign should follow?
Yes, and this is a good start. So absolutely, and certainly this is something that I know the Civil Contingencies Officer, Ivor, is always very keen to keep the public informed, and this can happen.